Ready?
Yeah.
Are we going to be serious?
No. Do it, Rubes.
Okay, hi, I'm Ruby from CopyDelightful.com. I'm an artist and zine maker.
Hello, I'm Kula from homemade.dorset.co.uk, and I'm an artist and spiritual intuitive. Yeah. And we're business besties, and we're just coming in to brighten up your week, keep you company. We're going to be tinkering with some creativity, just while we chat about what we've thought about this week and what's unfolded for us as small businesses, as women, and as powerful light beings.
That was a good introduction, Q. I liked it.
Did you like it?
I did. And we've got the addition of our spaces this time, haven't we? Because last time we just had our lovely faces.
Yeah, well, we found it quite tricky actually to make stuff, didn't we, while we were doing it?
Yeah, we did.
But we thought it was also really important because we know a lot of the people that might be tuning in will also be creatives at home and stuff, so they might find more creativity interesting. But also because we're neurodiverse, sometimes it's easier to be doing something while you're chatting. It helps it to flow and stuff. But last time you were stamping letters, weren't you? And you found it really hard to spell. And I made some really hideous artwork.
Yeah. So
I painted over, actually. I'm going to show you.
Oh, yes.
At the minute.
They turned out lovely.
They are coming out really nice, aren't they? So I'm just working into them with these fine light. Oh, I forgot about that camera. Oh, I could do it here. Look.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, do you get the gist?
Yeah.
Is it going in the Doobry?
No, I've got it. We've got it.
But you know what? And there's probably about one or two that I'm happy with, and the rest of them, yeah, they're just practices. Just practices.
Nice. They've come out really well, though, haven't they, compared to what they were? They were like weird flags, weren't they?
They were so bad. I was like, noggin. I don't know why I just couldn't do it, but it's going to be take two today. I'm going to really try it today. What are you up to?
So tomorrow, I've got an exciting day. I'm going to a bookbinding workshop. I've never been to do bookbinding before.
That is really exciting.
Yeah, so it said on it that you can take some papers in with you when you go if you wanted to. So I'm going to we'll see how it comes out. But I'm going to try and decorate some paper today and see if I can take them tomorrow for my bookbinding.
Ooh, that's really nice.
And look what I'm using. Paint. And it smells so nice. I wish you had smell-o-vision, people.
So you can smell that. It's the clove oil.
Yeah. Kula made these.
Yeah. They are the bee's knees. I do love them. I might use some of them today.
They're really lovely. So you'll be coming with me.
I'm just going to turn my computer up a bit. You're a bit quiet for me. And because I've got my close-ups on, I can't actually see your face. Between not being able to see you and not being able to see you, doesn't bode well, does it?
No, not at all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
So it's been a funny week because I was poorly once at the start of the week.
Oh, you were.
And I've not done very much, but it was really interesting because in the middle of me being poorly, I had to do my tax return. Obviously, left it till the day before the deadline. Got all year to do it, but no, we didn't leave it till the very last minute, of course.
I know, but you have put things in place that it's going to be different next year, isn't it?
Yeah, but as a disclaimer, I say that every year, don't I? It's going to be different.
Yeah, I was just going to say, don't hold me to it. Just because I said it on a YouTube video.
So we'll see if it is different. So I did that, in the middle of being poorly, which was not very great. But that brought up quite a lot of stuff because it was a lot different. So on my phone, I've got an app. I won't say what it is because I don't know if you're allowed to swear on YouTube, but it's by Denise Duffield Thomas. Lucky Bee, we'll call it.
Oh, yeah.
So every time I make a sale, I put my sale fee into the app. So every month I was like, oh, I'm doing really well. You know, I'm getting plenty of money now. But I also couldn't understand why I always have to use my credit card, or like I thought, oh, I'm just not great with money. I'm just not a money person, because it never seemed to equate to having much left over, or any leftover or anything. Anyway, so when I did my taxes, I realised that actually by the time I took all my expenses off, the paper, ink, packaging,
you're going to say it, Ruth?
Printing, what, the amount? Should I say the amount?
I don't know. It's up to you.
Well, on my app, it was over £1,000 a month that I thought I was earning, but when I actually worked it out, it was like 300 and something. So it was like a massive drop. So it's no wonder that I'm like, well, why do I not have any money for leftover stuff? But it was really eye-opening. So for a brief period, I was really upset. That evening, I was really upset because I felt like I work hours and hours and hours and actually not really get much back monetary wise. I get a lot back satisfactory wise and helping people and making lovely things, you know, like a soul satisfaction. I get loads of that. But for a monetary thing, it wasn't. So, but then what I realised was, after I'd had my initial angry thing, actually it was really freeing, because it means that if we've managed, Tom has a wage, of course, but if we've managed on this small amount of money for all this time, I can actually read a book when I want. I can actually paint when I want. I can actually do all that because it's almost like I'm not explaining it very well, but it's like it's freed me up, that I don't have to constantly be like, I need to do this for money. I need to do this for money. Does that make sense?
You've given up the hustle. It's given you permission to drop the hustle.
Yeah.
Because the hustle wasn't working.
No, clearly it wasn't. But I thought it was. It wasn't working from a physical standpoint, because, and this could be just to do with the ADHD. I'm on it one day. I'm on it. I can do all the things, and then another day I can't do many or any of the things. But I could look at my app and go, oh, but it's working because I'm getting this money. But actually I wasn't. I took everything off, you know. So and so it's been actually a good thing, a really good thing. And then you remember,
a few days on from it now. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling, so yesterday was the first day that I started doing my business work again. I did all my Patreon things yesterday and went on social media again. And already today, when I got up, I was like, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. And then I was like, hang on a minute, rein it back in again, rein it back in. You know, I can do my morning routine, I can do my relaxing, I can do the things and do my work as well. So I'm going to have to be really careful that I don't forget, you know, and just go right back into.
Well, because it's a pattern. The striving is a pattern that we've been conditioned to do. We're supposed to like work hard and just push and push. That, you know, that's what we've been conditioned to do. So it's hard to break out of that.
Yeah, it really is.
And the whole kind of starving artist paradigm that's sold to us, you know, all of that as well. I was just thinking, I was just getting my acrylics, but I think I'm going to use watercolor because I think that'll drop in better. But I just need to have a little hunt to see if I can find my watercolors. I don't use them very often.
I'm using watercolor today. I love watercolor. I love the so this one is a Van Gogh collection and it's metallics. And you can see the golds are the one that I've used the most. That's like,
oh, they're so beautiful.
They're really nice. And then I really love Winsor and Newton Professional. For a long time, I just used the ordinary Winsor and Newton, and then I got a couple of the professional ones, and I was like, oh my god, the pigment is so deep, so different. But you had I think I've got paint on my arm. You had a break from social media, didn't you? For a long time.
I know, and it's a bit tricky because I feel like a bit of a hypocrite because, well, not a hypocrite, but I tried to just stay off it for a while because it was so good for me. So good for me. And you know what? Now that I'm back on it, because I've got to go back on it because of my business, it's free advertising. It's the only way it's going to work. And also, it's not just about my business. It's, you know, we can talk about this in a bit, but it's like, because of the limitations of autism and all those sorts of things, I can't easily get out in the world and meet people face to face. And if I want to be a light in the world or be a supportive person or be a kind of a friend to people, online is the way to do it.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So I can make a difference, if that makes sense, that way. Even if it's a little difference, even if one person feels better from something I've said or shared on, it's worth it. So in some ways, I kind of need to do that, as in it's a drive in me to do that. But where I was just starting to do it, coming back on social media, and I was like, right, I need to get some like B-roll stuff, some stuff, you know, like just interesting things to look at, blah blah. And I went to the scrap store, and do you have a scrap store up there? I think we talked about it before, did we? Scrap store.
Yeah, we used to have a scrap store back in Blackpool when I lived in Blackpool. It was a brilliant one. It was amazing, but then it shut down. But up here, I don't think there is one.
Okay. Look at this gorgeous vintage plate robes. Oh, isn't it sweet?
Yeah.
But so I went there, and then we went to the fabric warehouse. So there was two brilliant opportunities, but because I've got so used to not using my phone when I'm out, I just don't, you know, like, sorry, we're jumping about a bit, aren't we? But you know, when you go to like, you go to a nice spot, and when you're social media in it as a small business, you're always taking photographs. And this is how I used to be. And in the back of my mind, even if I went to the beach and I was just having a lovely time at the beach, I'd be filming because that would be really good social media fodder. And to an extent, it takes you out of the actual experience of being there because you're already in the future thinking about what you're going to post about it, you know, which is not good, I don't think, for the soul and stuff. So anyway, so when I stopped social media, it was really good because I just stopped doing that. And so then when I went out this week, I just completely forgot, even though that would have been really good imagery. I just completely forgot because I'm so out of the loop of it, which is probably a good thing, to be fair.
Yeah, it definitely is a good thing. Because there's that thing, isn't there, about document your life, document everything that you do. And I find it really tricky. Like for example, if I'm doing a painting, you know, like on my easel painting, like, you know, not like a painting like this where it's just bits and pieces.
Yeah.
I stopped to do some filming once, and it really broke me out of the flow because when I'm painting, I feel like it's like a channel from,
absolutely.
You know, it's like a source channel, and it's like a meditation where you're completely in the zone.
Absolutely.
So to break it,
I did say that on one of the videos I made about why I've given up social media, and it was like, one, I'm not for sale. It felt like that, you know, and two, when you're creating art, like you say, not this, we're just tinkering, and because we can, you know, whatever. But when you're actually creating, when you're channeling art, it's to have to stop, to film it, to be thinking about angles, to be thinking about somebody else receiving it, because when you're creating art, you're not even thinking about it being viewed. Not really, are you?
No, not at all. You're in the moment, aren't you?
You're in the flow of it. Absolutely.
Do you feel like, so when I'm in that moment of it, it's almost like everything else around me doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Just this sounds really a bit whatever, but like I'm at one with the paint and the canvas.
Absolutely.
And then nothing else exists, and it's almost like after a while I go, oh, I'm in this house and I'm doing this thing. You know, it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
So
you're in the zone.
Yeah, totally in the zone. And I've got to say, through a paintbrush then. I've got to say, I'm just going to say this. but it really irritates me when I see social media channels and the young gorgeous women in their underwear
What the
with the canvases painting like this. Oh, look, I'm fancy my underwear, painting a painting. And they've got like, I don't know, millions of views or something. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And I think, I mean, everybody's different, aren't they? But how can you be in the zone of painting? I don't even think about what I'm wearing. If I'm in that moment where I'm like, oh, I need to paint. It's like a deep urge, like you have to burst something from inside your soul onto the canvas.
Yeah.
But then to go fannying around and putting some underwear on and posing about, I just don't get it.
Maybe the drive, the motivation is from a very different place.
Yeah, maybe.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm just gonna get some pencils.
Yeah. What size do those papers need to be?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't actually look at that. Oh,
that would be quite quite important, I'm thinking.
Yeah, they might need to be a certain size, mightn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, flipping heck.
Yeah, but you're doing, is that A4 you're working on, or A5?
A5. I've got other books here that I'll work on.
I think A4 would probably be better, because then you've got the choice, haven't you?
Yeah.
You can cut them down.
Also, though, any that I don't use, they can go for my pen pal packs on Patreon. Yeah. The right mouthful, that. Pen pal packs on Patreon.
You know, it'd be really nice for your pen pal pack people to see them being painted on here. That's nice.
That is nice, isn't it?
Although, having said that, you know, when I paint my bookmarks, and I always say in the video, if you want one of these, let me know in the comments. No one's ever asked me for some, because I'm always like, I'll post them out to people, because if it was me, I'd really love that. But nobody ever says anything. Nobody ever says, oh yeah, I'll have one of them, please, love.
I wonder if it's because they feel like a bit embarrassed or something, or like they don't want to take the opportunity from someone else.
Maybe I need to be a bit more direct with people.
Yeah, maybe. When did you first start painting, Koo?
Well, you know, I mean, a real thing this week. I've got a big long story. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Story time. So I've just joined this thing on Facebook called Artists on the Rise. So it's a shout out to the person who runs that, who's a really dynamic and obviously stunningly beautiful as well, just happens to be person. I think, I don't know what they go by pronoun wise, but anyway. And it's going to be like a 5-day, you go in for an hour a day from the 12th to the whatever. Anyway, you're introducing yourself at the minute in this group. And one of the things they get you to say is name 3 things that you visualize for your artist, like your art life in the future. So you kind of do an imaginary thing, you know, I'm going to be selling $20,000 paintings. I'm going to be showing in this fancy gallery. I'm going to be doing a residency in Brisbane, Australia, which I am. That is one of my things. Anyway, that took me down another story. Anyway, and it really threw me when they said that, because I had no idea. I was so lost in my art, what I want to do and where I want to go with it. It really, and I was like, oh, I can't do this task because I have no idea. I didn't realize that I had no idea. I've just been tinkering for such a long time. So this is one of the first paintings I did that's a proper painting, and I did it about 20 years ago. My angel. And I can see now what I do differently, whatever, you know, etc. But I keep her there because obviously, you know, and I've painted like dozens and dozens of angels since, and all my daughters have been models for me, etc. I'm actually waiting for my 3rd daughter to model for me again. Because I'm desperate to paint on these big canvases. I'm going to be putting angels on them, on their backgrounds. But when I was at uni, what happened was, because of obviously my spiritual whatever, I kind of went into a place of, I was creating these really large scale sculptures and installations. So one of the things, so it'd be like an 8 foot by 12 foot canvas, which is massive, isn't it? And I'd be pouring concrete and plaster down it and wax and all sorts, because I was really interested. And I have done actually a TikTok about this 100 years ago. I was interested in things that change form, just like us. So something that can be a powder, then a liquid, then a solid, and then potentially back to a powder again. All those sorts of things. I thought that was really interesting. So obviously, plaster and wax and concrete.
Sorry.
No worries. Do you need to get? Is it your parcel? Do a little dance for you while we're waiting. Talking. Hope you've had a lovely week, whatever you've been up to. Please let us know in the comments what you've been up to this week. And thank you. I mean, Ruby probably wants to come and say this as well, but thank you so much for all the comments on our last videos. We've worked out a better way of doing things now. We're actually going to be premiering on Ruby's channel this week and then on my channel the next week. We're hoping to make this a weekly thing, but at the same time, we have to be careful about doing that because we're a bit rubbish at consistency. So, but that's the plan, isn't it, Robes?
It is. Sorry about that. I didn't.
No worries. Yeah. So anyway, so I was doing these big things, and one of the things I showed in the London gallery was this big. There's like a huge circle, made out of wood. Things got done together. It was just, you didn't really notice that, but what was hanging from it were these big pieces of calico that I dipped in concrete and stuff, and it made this kind of chamber. But it was about 12 feet wide again, and you stepped inside, and it was really. It's like the space inside was really sacred, and it was very, very much ceremony wise. And then there was another piece that was a really huge piece, and then it was dipped in this pool of blue water, and the water gradually seeped up the fabric. It was really beautiful, and they were all kind of metaphorical and all very spiritual, blah blah. And then for my final pieces for my degree, I had this huge piece of fabric. I mean, huge. I don't know how big it was, but it was a massive room, and it spanned the whole ceiling. And that I painted black and white. I always use black and white, and grey, the non-binary, because I didn't want colour to be informing the space. Anyway, sorry, I'm talking too much, but basically, and then I projected onto that water rippling. So I'd filmed a local river and stuff like that, you know. So there was all the movement, and then there was the sound of the water, etc. And it was just about embodiment, really, you know, and transience, ephemerality of life and all those sorts of things. So that's really, really exciting to me. And then, of course, when you leave uni, it's like, well, I've got my bedroom to paint in. What am I going to create in that? And when people are asking for submissions, they're not asking for installations or experiences or ceremonies. They're asking for a painting, or at best, a sculpture that is no bigger than that. And it's like, oh. So I think what I've done is I've lost some of my purpose in that. You know, I can make these things and I can tinker, but it feels like I'm just making some things for the sake of making nice things. And which is why I've kind of gone into making the shrines and the amulets, because they at least feel important. And I think all art is important because beauty is important, and it's important that we're all kind of reminded of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're given the opportunity to access beauty. But at the same time, it just isn't the same as my big installations. And I don't really know how to move forward with that. And if I want to, because obviously when it comes to doing something like that, you're talking massive proposals, liaising with a lot of people. A site-specific project is a big deal. And I don't know if I'm up for that because of all the peopling I'd have to do. And you know what we're like, Ruby? Me and you understand what we're saying. But we try and say what we say to each other to someone else. They've got no clue. Even our partners got no clue what we're saying. So it's a bit like, oh, how am I going to describe? No, I want that, 6 feet or this. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. So that's where I am with my art anyway.
That's really interesting. And you're right. When you finish uni and then you're just working at home, it's the same. It's just not the same. So my canvases were 5 foot by 3 foot. I had 5 of them.
Nice.
And it was all about microscopic art and worlds. So like,
so you went the opposite direction.
Yeah, you went massive.
So I went like that, and you went like that. That's really interesting.
It was so cool. I got to go in the science department and use all their microscopes and look
Oh.
at moss under a microscope and grass and stuff. Oh, it was just incredible.
Is that kind of the first times you were using that? Because I know you do it quite a bit now, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't have a microscope like that. These were like proper high powered, where they could get right to the cellular level, so you could
Right.
see bits wiggling around in the cells and stuff. Oh, it was incredible. It was,
Wow.
and then I painted them on these massive canvases. But the same. So ours was different in the way that lockdown happened in our final year. So
Oh.
have an exhibition or do any of that.
Oh, that's gutting.
It's really gutting, really gutting. But the same. So when I've looked at exhibiting, putting in for exhibitions, they're
Yeah.
small on the sizes. Like,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I don't know if it's different. Well, you're down south, aren't you? So I was going to say, I don't know if it's different down south, but
No,
um,
there's always limitations.
uh, which is quite frustrating in a way.
Yeah. I suppose it's putting on your own exhibition, but then that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Do you know what puts me off that? The
Yeah.
hanging. So at home, I just put a nail in the wall and put my picture on it.
Yeah.
In an exhibition, you have to have special, and I know they're only brackets, and I know somebody could do that, but just that simple bit puts me right off.
See, TJ puts all the things on the back of my
Oh,
paintings,
that's really good, isn't
which
it?
is really helpful.
Yeah,
Well, so what are you going to do? So, as you know, we mentioned last time, we both got exhibitions coming up this year, haven't we? So
yeah.
we've got Dorset Art Weeks down here, and so our studio will be open for anybody who fancies visiting Dorset, West Dorset. So the office in the garden and TJ's studio, which is one of the rooms downstairs, will be open. I won't be having this room open because it's upstairs, but I'll be taking stuff downstairs to put in my office. And we might even have like a little tiny gazebo in the garden or something. But also, I'm showing at the pub, and I just got a little shelf at the pub. But at the pub, it's a little shelf, so I'm just going to put some small things on it, so I haven't got to worry about hanging things. But I do need to worry for the other things. But I've got a couple of months to think about that. But what are you going to do about hanging your paintings for the exhibition you've got? What date is it again?
The 8th August. I can't remember.
You've got a time to think about that as well.
Yeah, it's around this. It's the weekend of around the 6th.
Yeah.
So it'll be that week before. So because it's a listed building, they've got to have certain things on them.
Oh.
Yeah, so they've got to have them. I don't know what they're called. It's like a weird brackety thing that goes on them.
Oh, that's a bit of a nuisance.
Is, but I'm just gonna, because it's not my exhibition, it's part of the big event. I'm just gonna ask the people at the event and at the gallery what to do, basically.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna like leave it to them to tell me what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I did look at exhibiting there a couple of years ago because I've got my online creative circle. And we were all like, oh, we could have an exhibition. And it was something really good. Like, it's a huge room. It's a gorgeous room, big, massive windows in the ceiling and stuff. And it was something like £300 for the week. And we were like, right, well, if we all chip in, as a collective.
Oh, okay.
And then it didn't happen. But then I went back this year to ask about it, and it's gone up to £900 in the space of years, because they say costs have gone up.
That's not that much, Rubes.
No, I don't think that much either.
I'm just going to try and get another light because I'm noticing where the light's going outside. I can't have this light on because it looks like I've got it comes out the top of my head, doesn't it? So I'm going to just try and put something else in.
I'll try my. Oh, that's a bit harsh, isn't it, on my face? And I can't really move it because it's got my wire on it.
Oh, what's going on here? Oh, there we are.
Oh, I've got a light coming today. So Cass Art.
Sorry, everybody, if that's right in the way.
You might have one in London. Oh, look at that too. I love these, you know. They're Inktense blocks. Have you got some of these?
I've heard of them. I haven't got any. Let's put it there. What about if I put it there? Oh, it's going to be in people's vision. It's going to be annoying for people. These are all things we've got to keep trying out, isn't it, Robes?
It's tricky though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially because we both live in houses with small windows.
Oh, ridiculous.
Yeah, so
your house was made like that. It's an old house, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mine was just made to look like that, you know. It's all about what it looks like on the outside.
But yeah, the windows are small, aren't they, for art spaces?
It's ridiculous.
So I got, Cass Art, I've got a big sale on.
Yeah.
So I treated myself to a daylight lamp, a standy up one it is. So you can have it for your easel, or you can have it on your table. You could have it just stood next to you. So I'm so excited because
what is the pole like it goes up and down?
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's got like a light like that, but then they split, so you can have them like that or together.
Oh yeah. So
I'm
that really should be cool.
I know, because after a certain time of the day here in winter,
yeah,
light and it's no good, is it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to see if I can find my other ink blocks. Where could I have put? Oh, there they are. I can see them. That was handy.
I was just gonna show you my apron in action. I'll show you. So this is what I made this week. Very shoddy sewing.
Oh, it looks good though at the back.
It looks cute at the back. I said I should just walk backwards. Yeah, it looked cute at the back, but yeah, this is my trial run. I'm going to try do more sewing, and I also sewed a curtain from a window, because in the nighttime, when I want to come in here at nighttime, I don't like I mean, the people right over there could see, but no one's would be taking any notice at me. But it's just having that big black in front of you. It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I think I'm going to have to just leave these for a second. Who knows what's happening? Not me. And let them dry for a minute.
You've already painted on your apron, I see.
Got to be done. Got to be done, beauty.
I can't even remember. Lights, camera action.
I did write down. I said, I wanted to talk about that, but I can't remember now. Oh, I need to say that. Someone messaged me because they said, there's 2 things actually, Robes. Oh, there's 3 things. Hello. Hang on, let me just get another bit ready to get working. The big scissors. Someone mentioned in one of my videos, I said about people staying inside because I was questioning whether we're staying inside, a lot of us that are sensitive people. Oh, this paper is thicker than I thought. It's not. That's all right. Because the energy is so wild, absolutely wild out there, and us staying inside is the best way we can be of service because we're holding the light strong, etc. And this is the part we might be playing right now as part of the ascension. And the person was like, "What the noggin? What's this ascension?" So I was like, "Oh, maybe I should have mentioned that." Just assume that everyone's on the same page. You know what I mean? Oh, see, that's a bit shoddy. Never mind. That's all right.
Have you got a guillotine?
You know what? I really want an A3 guillotine. I keep looking on Facebook Marketplace for one. I need an A3 one.
Have you got a Ryman's near you?
You know what? I can probably do the rest of this now on the guillotine, can't I? Now I've cut that.
That's where I got mine from, Ryman's.
Well, A3 though, Rose.
A3.
Yeah, but wasn't that expensive?
I got it about 6 years ago, I can't remember how much, about 35 quid. So not too
45? That's good.
I've had it for 6 years and I use it every week.
Yeah, absolutely. 45, not sleep on that. price. They won't be that price now, I shouldn't think, but oh bugger.
So go on, you're on about the ascension.
In theory, what's happening is we're moving from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. And sorry if this is noisy, everybody. It might be. Won't be lasting long though.
Not that bad.
Good tip there, Ribs. And so what's happening is at the minute, all the wild things in the world, it's hard to know what to say because obviously you don't know where people are or where they stand or how they feel about things, and you don't want to upset anybody. But or say things that are very obvious, and I don't want anybody to think, Anyway, so all the things that are happening is kind of basically about the breaking down of everything in order for the new to be birthed and to, come about, sort of thing. So it can feel really distressing and awful. The breaking down of the old systems, the rules, the capitalism, the patriarchy, the dominance, the hierarchy, all of those things kind of breaking down, and we're moving towards a world that is more equal and more in harmony and is love driven and not power driven or money driven. That's the theory. And so we're in the really tricky place, like we have been for a few years now. I think this has been happening since about the 80s, really, where we are, and we're coming to the climax of that now, the rest of this year and a chunk of next year. So by the end of the next year, I really think we'll be in a place where it's a lot calmer and a lot more, what's going to be happening. It's going to feel safer. It's going to feel calmer and safer. That's my understanding of it anyway.
That's really interesting that you've come from it from that point. So I come from it from a different point. I think I mentioned this before. I don't know if it was in our video last time or if it was on one of my videos, but there's a guy on YouTube called Van Neistat.
What? Sorry, I missed it.
It's all right. He's called Van Neistat. He's called the Spirited Man, and he's an inventor and a designer and stuff. Yeah. So very methodical, in how he explains things, and it's really interesting because every 80 years. There's a cycle that happens every 80 years. And where the last 20 years of the 80-year cycle, so it'll end in 2028, the 80-year cycle. And every year, every 80 years over the past however many 80 years.
As long as we can document.
He's mapped it out, how you can see, in the last 20 years of the 80 years, there's always war, destruction, something really massive happens like a pandemic or anything like that. And the next 20 years, so ours will start in 2028, is where everything starts again, like it all starts rebuilding again. It's all a better world, until it reaches the peak at like year 30 or 40. And I thought that was so interesting because if you're coming from it from a non-spiritual place, like some of our watchers might be, then that's a very like a scientific historical perspective of what's happening.
But both can be true. Both are true.
Same
probably.
Definitely.
Some people, they prefer to look at it fact-wise, don't they?
Rather than the spiritual aspect. So I realized the other day that at the minute, so our 3D world is the normal world. We'll do that in them things, whatever they're called.
Air quotes.
Air quotes. So like going to the supermarket and buying your tea and going home and watching the telly, and when I'm working at a 9-to-5 job, that's your normal 3D stuff. And then the 5D stuff is like an ascension, isn't it, into the spiritual, where everything's about love and kindness, and it's more of a it's just a way of a completely different way than living in that world. But I feel like a lot of us are in a 4D So we're in the middle of the 3 and the 5. So sometimes we'll dip back into the 3D world because you've got to, for doing things like paying your taxes or going to get food shopping, but and stuff like that. But then other times, like when you're meditating or when you're creating art, you're in the 5D part. So it's almost like we've got a foot in each camp, back and forward. So we're kind of in this middly bit at the minute, and it feels really uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you don't know any of this stuff and you're like, what on earth are they on about?
Yeah. I'm a bit like, what?
What is going on? It's really hard to understand, I think, if you are at that place where you're still in the 3D bit and everything. It feels fearful, doesn't it, about everything that's happening? But actually, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Over the next few years, there's a great light coming that's gonna be.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're part of that great light.
Yeah,
because more and more people are standing up and going, actually, I don't want to live like that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want this. And they're choosing love over fear, whatever. So there's a couple of things. One is like, when you're saying about stepping, you have to keep stepping back into the 3D to do your taxes or, stepping to and from. And part of that is because we haven't yet, like we said last time, worked out ways of doing those things if they still need doing, if we decide we still need to pay taxes as a collective or whatever, if that's the best way in order to support everybody on our planet or to run our countries, etc. We haven't yet found a way of doing that in love and harmony that is of benefit to all, which is why it's 3D. And it might be that it transforms, and it might be exactly the same, but it will be, but I don't think it can stay the same, actually, thinking about that. It can't. We have to find a different system, a different way of supporting everybody, a fairer way of supporting everybody. Sorry, what was the second thing I was going to say? Oh, I was just going to say about, there's so many YouTube, once you start getting into this and then your YouTube feed is flooded with all of this sort of information, of course, and there's so many YouTube channels that claim, I'm not putting up a battle to anybody, but I'm just saying to people, be careful what you allow yourself to be open to. The same as I'd say to you, please don't watch the news and please don't watch EastEnders and programs of that ilk, or murder mysteries, or looking at why that murderer did that. Don't watch those shows. They're so low vibe. Just don't open yourself to that sort of dross, because you're more than that and you're worth more than that. Don't exaggerate that energy. There's enough of that energy in your day to day. You'll meet enough of that in the supermarket, at Tesco's. Don't let that become something you voluntarily watch. And I know some people watch those sorts of things because it makes them feel alive. And then I would absolutely say to you, you need to do some inner work. And if you want to do it with the girls to help you, we can just book a session with us and we'll support you through that. Anyway.
Very cool. Can I just jump in there? Interesting. Yeah. I used to love watching murder shows. I did criminology and psychology at college. I loved it. It felt amazing watching them. And then I read a thing and it said if you've suffered trauma, serious trauma, at some point in your life, it feels comfortable watching those because you are comforted by the familiar feeling. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm choosing that because I was in a domestic violent relationship. I'm choosing because of all the different stuff. And it really woke me up to going, hang on a minute, that shouldn't feel comfortable and not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to pop that in.
No, you're absolutely right. And even in conversations we've had before, like a couple of years ago, you'd say something and really quite flippantly, and I'd be like, no, Ruby, that's really not okay. Yeah. You said it like it was just everybody does that, not in you. We're talking about a relationship a long time ago. You were telling me about it, but you were telling me about it in such a way where it was clear that it hadn't dropped in yet, that actually that's not normal and that wasn't okay and you deserved more than that. Yeah. And of course, one of the number one universal laws is like attracts like. So people are going to be drawn to what their vibration is. And if you have a vibration of unkindness or because someone's been unkind to you, you have that vibration going in you, the wound is vibrating in you, then you're going to be attracted to similar wounding, because like you say, it feels comfortable. And it's just, in the better the devil you know sort of thing. It's a sad but true thing. So that's a really good point to point out to people. Where was I going with it, Robes? I can't remember. Just about
people on YouTube, when you start
watching. Yeah. So there's I saw a headline the other day saying all these people are gonna, we're gonna have this split between 3 and 5D, and all these people are gonna peg it, basically. And it was really warmongering. It was really frightening people, sensationalism, and obviously the title was clickbait and stuff like that. And they, it's the same as these psychics that look into the celebrities' lives and all that sort of stuff. That's so low energy. It's rubbish, absolutely not necessary, and it's just chit chat rubbish. And I'm not judging anybody for watching it. I'm judging them for putting it on, because you're either working for the lie or you're not. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You kind of have a bit of both, because you want your YouTube channel to grow. So you're gonna, I've put out a bit of a challenge there, haven't I? And I don't mean to. I'm gonna have to make sure I really protect myself because all that later on. But the way I understood it is, now this is going to be a bit big woo-woo, so hold on tight. If you're someone that's not familiar with it, you'll be fine, Ruby. I'm talking about anybody that's watching.
Also, people can ask questions if they don't understand.
Absolutely. We're really up for that. We're very excited about sharing stuff like that and just having a conversation with you, because we don't know any more than you do, as in it's just that we're because of the nature of who we are, when we look into something, and so we tend to really dive deeply into things. So that, we have a thirst for that. Anyway, so my understanding is, yes, some of us are going to be moving into the 5D, and some people aren't going to be moving in immediately. So it is going to be like a split, but I don't think that means that all the 3D people are going to be exploded off the earth, or they're just all going to suddenly randomly die. Although I do think some people will choose to leave, but rather than evolve, because that's more comfortable for them at that time, and that's right for their soul path at the time. They've done what they came to do, etc. But I think what can happen is we will be running both realities, the 3D, the 5D, at the same time, and neither reality will be aware of the other one, because you know what it's like when you buy a new car, or any car. When you buy a car, you've never seen that car before, and then all of a sudden, because you bought it, every other car on the street is that car or that color, or do you know what I mean? What is your awareness is what shows up for you. What you're vibrating, what is what shows up for you. And so we just won't be aware, because obviously, me and Rubes will be choosing to step into 5, and so the 3D won't even be in our awareness, but it'll be here exactly the same time, because all realities are happening at the same time. It's going really woo-woo.
Well, anyway, a great example is, do you remember when there was but I'll be doing a lot of this today, a food crisis, where there was no courgettes or no tomatoes, and it was all this stuff. And
I don't remember this.
Yeah, you will in a minute. And I went to the supermarket. People on Facebook and everything were going, "Oh, it's really bad. The shelves are all empty."
Right.
I went to the supermarket and the shelves were all full. And I said to you, didn't I? The shelves were full. Because I said, reality.
Yeah. You wouldn't even, but it's also as well because we don't watch the news. So no one told us to expect that. So we didn't expect it. No. We were like, I don't know what they're talking about. We haven't seen it. Yeah. So there is something to really be said about what you open yourself up to, what you choose to believe. And of course, it's really hard if you're surrounded by people who are beating the drum of something you don't actually want in your reality, to keep showing up in a different way, because they keep giving you that story. And it can be really hard if they're like family members and stuff, because that's harder to separate from, isn't it?
It is, but also I think people have to be aware that they do have permission. Just because it's a family member, they don't have to stay in touch with them.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right, Ruby.
Oh, just because you're linked by the family connection, if somebody is really negatively impacting your mental health or well-being, you don't have to have them in your reality. You just my sister completely blocked me over the whole pandemic thing.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in agreement with
what they were saying.
He was saying, yeah. You know, I didn't agree, and I wasn't bothered what she was doing. She can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
That's her journey and her path. But she ended up blocking me, and that was fine because she needed me out of her life. And that's okay to do just because you're related by some blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I always say that if somebody needs to step away from other people, do it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's really important as well on a level of everything that you listen to, everything that you watch, everything that you hear is going into you subconsciously and sometimes consciously. So be really mindful of who you spend your time with, how you spend your time, and what you do. Like sometimes we're in the car and sometimes Tom has the radio on. I turn the adverts down. I mute them because
oh God, yeah,
just dribble. But if you listen to them, you'd be so frightened of everything that's that's going on. Do you know what's really funny, Kate? When we went to the cabin
oh bugger.
Oh, what have you done?
Sorry. Do you know you just do one thing and you go, ruined it. Poop. It was looking so cute.
What have you ruined?
Look, it was looking so cute. Actually, it is that way up here.
What have you done to it?
I put that bit in. Oh, you can't really see it. It's not really. Yeah. I'll put that one aside for a minute. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So I've not watched the news for years. And we was at the cabin at New Year, and we was waiting for a film to come on because it had got really rainy. We'd done loads of stuff, and we just wanted a little bit of time in front of the fire watching a film.
Yeah.
So we was waiting for this film to come on, and the weather came on, and I've not seen the weather for years either, and it was just crazy. There was a map of England, and this weather woman, and she went, and in the south it may rain or it may not rain.
I think you should stand up and do it.
I've not got a weather map behind me. There could be strong winds, or there might not be. And this is what she was saying. And I went, Tom, did you hear her? He went, no, I weren't paying attention. I said she was making no sense at all. The stuff she's saying is not true. But before, years ago, I'd have watched the weather and gone, oh, we're going to have strong winds here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The little bits. Not that I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, did I really hear that?
Hang on, I've got to let the dog in.
All right. Yeah. Blooming bonkers.
Oh, bless him. I've just heard him go downstairs. He must have been sat outside the door for ages. Duty. I feel really mean. He must have been outside waiting. I thought I heard him go upstairs, but he was actually going downstairs. How long has he been sat there? Yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? And we don't realise how kind of brainwashed we are by some of this stuff, do we?
No, not at all.
And, you know, I think as well, we're really going on it, aren't we, today, Rose? Some people, including me, it's so easy to feel like life is happening to you, you know, rather than, you know, you creating your reality day by day, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, because it almost feels like, I remember years ago, so I always say when I lived at Peel Avenue, so there was this house that I lived at on Peel Avenue, and I loved that house. It was the first house I had on my own with the kids. And you know, I could paint it how I wanted, I could do whatever I wanted. The landlord was brilliant. but we were really like poor then, monetary poor. And eventually the house ended up really damp because they had insulation put in and it all went wrong. It was this scam that nobody knew about at the time. So it all moldy. It was really bad. Anyway, so Peel Avenue is my marker of where I've been. I was a single parent to 3 kids on benefits, which is welfare if you're watching from America. And I smoked, I drank, and I had friends that were not very nice people, that did not very nice things. So I always think of Peel Avenue as being that low point in my life.
Hello.
Why was I telling you this?
Right, so we went from the Weather Channel to Good Boy.
Oh yes, so Peel Avenue, I was a very outside person, so all my outside things influenced me because
I see.
I was in poverty, I was in a mouldy house, I didn't have nice friends, It was all outside things. It was about my appearance. Was I thin enough? Did I look good enough? Did I fit with other people? It was all outside stuff. And then when Tom and I met, and then we ended up watching The Secret, and all the other stuff started to come in, and we realized it was about inside of ourselves. The more we changed our insides, the more our outside reflected that.
Yeah.
Now our outsides reflect what's our inside. We live in a nice area. There's lovely.
Well, it always did, didn't it? But
yeah, always. I never realised it.
Yeah.
Until like the shift. So that's if you're watching and your outside is chaotic, if you live in a terrible area and and you've got maybe an awful partner, or just things that are chaos that are happening on your outside, look at how much you're working on your inside, and I'm guaranteeing it's not much at all, if at all. But the more you do the inner work of healing your own self, the more your outer reality will reflect that, won't it?
Absolutely. It has to. Absolutely. Yeah. I would say there's only one caveat to that in that we can never know the bigger story. We can never know what, like while we're in the physical body, we can't know what our plan was before we came. And well, we can get inklings of it, can't we? But there might be a bigger plan that we made before we came and that we can't access. And that plan, for example, might have been to always live in poverty. Or this lifetime, I want to experience what it was like to live in poverty. And so it doesn't matter how much inner work you do, if you've made that kind of promise or vow, until that's satisfied in you, you're going to continue to live in poverty. And that's and that's not like a get out clause, but what I'm just saying is, if your outside is pants, don't use it to beat yourself up that you're not good enough and you haven't done a good enough job.
Oh no,
because we don't know, do we, the whole thing. All we can do is keep coming back to self, keep coming back to the inner, and working on ourselves and trying to uncover what's running us, what the motivation is. Who's directing this life?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it outside thoughts and outside people's opinions of you and blah blah, or is it internal? That's looking really nice, Rubes, your work.
Thanks.
Oh, that's looking really nice.
No, it's not your fault, is it, how your outside looks? Because you don't know. You just like I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Oh, and I always say that you can only do your best in the knowledge, circumstances, and support that you've got at any time.
Yeah.
Because back then I had no knowledge, I had no support, so it was different.
Yeah.
Now I have got them things, and life's lots easier. So it's not your fault if that's your situation, but yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I'm really pleased with that. It's got, I don't know if you can see. Can you see?
Yeah, bring it up to the camera a little bit.
I put that light.
It's so pretty. It looks really cosmic.
It does, doesn't it? It's got like gold.
You should scan that, Rubes.
Gold. Oh,
Use it as a digital background as well. It's really nice.
yeah, I think I will. That one's quite cute as well. That's got
Oh, you did that too. I didn't notice you'd swapped over. So nice. It's really in your style. I was just going to say about the 3D to 5D, and it goes along with what you were just saying just now, is that there's going to be some people that are moving into 5D, and the people that they love, that they're with, whether they're people they work for, like employers, or people that work for them, or partners, other family members, children, whatever, parents, they might not move with you. And so lots of us are going to lose people in that way. But I really had a sense this week, didn't I, Robes, that people are going to move. People just take their time in, not everybody moves at the same time. So for some people, it's going to be, the shift is going to be much quicker than other people. And so it's kind of like a thing of give people time. Don't just kind of go, well, they're never going to get it. They're never going to catch up. We're never going to see eye to eye again, because you just need to give people some space and time, and maybe a helping hand to kind of see, and move into the light with you.
Yeah, that's really important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, some people that you might have been friends with for a long time just fall away.
Yeah.
It feels really hurtful as it happens, and sad, like a grief, because you're grieving.
Yeah.
But actually, it opens up a space, an energetic space, to somebody else coming along that is more on your wavelength at that particular time. So if that happens and you're losing friends and things like that, just know that it's just meant to happen. I always think of friends like flowers. Some are perennial, so they're there all the time. Some are annual, where you just pop in, and some are annual. They're just there for a certain moment or point in your life where you've needed something from each other to learn or grow, and then you're gone again. But that can feel confusing, I think, to some people if they're not aware of that.
Yeah. Well, again, it's where we've been trained to. Well, you know what? It comes on. What's the time, Ruby? How long have we been going? Because we don't really want to make it longer than an hour, do we?
3. So I don't think we've been going an hour yet, because we was messing, weren't we, trying to set up for ages.
Yeah, because getting these cameras so that they weren't in people's way, but at the same time, you could still see what we were up to.
We was talking about friends.
Oh no, I was only just saying about how the endings, and basically death is what I'm thinking about. I should have put a trigger warning maybe in there. But how we're taught that that's a bad thing, and that could be that's the worst possible thing that could ever happen to somebody, is that they die, or there's a loss, or an ending is we're taught that that's a really, really bad thing. And obviously, from my spiritual perspective, death doesn't really mean a lot at all, really. And the endings of things is sometimes really, really necessary and really important, and quite a celebration, essentially, but again, we're conditioned not to think that.
Yeah, I think it's a very different way, isn't it, from the Western world to, say, like if you lived in a tribe or something like that, where it's celebrated as it's just a cycle of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than,
well, not that we know anything about that necessarily, but that if you're someone who's in tune with nature, that's probably what's happened, isn't it? It's where we're so out of tune with nature. That's why it's so abhorrent to us. Abhorrent.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? There's but like there's doulas for birth.
Yeah.
A friend called Phil, and he's trained now. He's a death doula.
Yeah, I love that.
I think that's amazing, and I think.
Yeah.
Go on.
I'd wondered I'd looked into doing that.
Oh, you'd be so good at it.
I'm so comfortable with death.
Yeah, you. That sounds really, really ridiculous.
It's a weird thing to say, ain't it? But yeah. But you know, because obviously with my ministry training, you know, I can do funerals and stuff, but I can't because I just get and I wouldn't have the maybe the quite the same necessary. Oh, I just start giggling because I laugh at really inappropriate times because I get nervous. We've said that before, haven't we, Rubes? When I was at school, this girl, I finally stood up to the bully, and she said, "Oh, what you say," and all that lot. And because I was so nervous, I was like, "What have I done?" I started laughing. Are you laughing at me? You laugh again, I'll hit you. So then I obviously laughed more. So then she hit me. So then I'm in hysterics. I'm all over the place. So she's hitting me. Awful, but I couldn't stop. And it's when TJ tells me bad news, you know, she tells me something bad. It's like when someone says, you know, that I lost so and so. I always want to say that was really careless of you.
In my head, I go, what if they found him again? Like, and then I'm like, don't say it, don't say it.
Don't say it. Don't say it. I know.
Really bad. Because it's funny, isn't it? Because we're such empathetic people
Yeah.
about things.
Yeah.
But then there's that part of
And then
you.
that comes up.
Do you think that's a neurodiverse thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
It's
but
not knowing what to do with the energy, is it?
no, not at
See,
all.
we're so grown, and then we're really immature, really ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, if I die, you can come and do my funeral and laugh as much as you want.
But we know TJ's trained as a celebrant as well.
Is she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
a funeral celebrant. Yeah,
I didn't know that at all.
done
Have you ever
funerals. Yeah.
done any funerals then? Have you ever led any?
She has. I've just done weddings and baby blessings.
Right.
I didn't hear from that job.
Oh, did you not?
No, I think I've got a couple more days, but probably haven't got it,
That's a
which
shame.
is brilliant, actually.
Oh,
See, my vibe is that I don't really want it,
maybe
probably.
viewers what that was then.
What is it?
Tell the viewers what the job because you.
Oh, it was just to work for the council to be as kind of celebrant thing. You see, that's not going to help. But to be a part of a team of, the people that go around and do the weddings that happen in register offices and things, because you could go anywhere. Like it could be a hospital bed, prisons, fields, hotels, anyway. So many places now are registered for marriage, aren't they? And there's always two of you that go about. So I thought that was quite nice. And it's really ad hoc work, which also really suits me. I just thought, but maybe they were put off because I'd be like trying to make it all spiritual all the time rather than, and oftentimes the thing is, right? So part of the interfaith ministry is because one of the reasons it's so valuable is because you either have church, which a lot of people aren't comfortable with now, or you have nothing. And there's the spiritual still needs to be met. There's still different ways of bringing in sacredness and spiritual stuff without it being linked to any faith. And so that's where interfaith ministers come in. There's a whole body of them all over the country. They're flipping amazing. In about their 15th year of training now. So there's lots of us now, and it's global. But yeah, because obviously with funerals, there's humanitarian people that go and do those sorts of things, and it's fine. But if you wanted something that had more spirit in it, that wasn't linked to a religion, absolutely check in with interfaith ministers because they will offer that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And the whole point of it, the job of it is to bring in as much or as little as you're comfortable with. It might be nothing, but you might want whole passages of a sacred book for you. What does your faith kind of hold as sacred as a book, Robes?
Oh, it's a book.
Or like if there were sacred texts that you could read at a ceremony, where would they come from?
I don't
because it's just been handed down.
yeah, I don't know. So, so immediately my first thought would be a Bible, but I wouldn't read that, or I wouldn't want that to be read because it's
Yeah.
not my thing. But I'm just trying to think. So my first, the first
One.
thing that popped into my mind was, but I've got a book called The Collins Botanical Bible, and it's all about plants.
Yeah.
And that was the first book that popped into my head.
So is there a passage in there about the cycle of life? Because that would be perfect for a funeral.
Yeah, there is.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's sacred text for you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It could be anything. It could be a poem that really, you know, like, you know. So obviously for me, I'm really, you know, I'm into the angels, or you know, I do love some of the Sikh gurus and things like that, and Buddha and Jesus, or you know, I love all the prophets, Muhammad, whatever. Anybody really that's come and brought light to the planet, I love all them. So I'd be happy to speak from any of their texts with my own version of it, because obviously those texts have all been written by man and adapted or whatever at any time, haven't they? You know, you can't really trust that it's 100% what they said anytime, can you?
No, not.
But the essence of all of them is exactly the same. So at some point, someone somewhere might have said something pretty similar, you know. But, you know, it's just about love at the end of the day, ain't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it really is. There's another book as well called The Great Cosmic Mother, and it's all
Ooh,
her story. So instead of history, his story.
yeah.
It's all her story, and that's really interesting. I mean, it's an epic read. I've not read it all because it's massive, and all
Yeah.
you're constantly looking at what words mean, you know,
Oh,
because
right. Yeah, yeah.
it's kind of thing. Um, but that is a really lovely book. So I bet there's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
You could read it all.
What's nice is you can choose from anything that nourishes your soul is good enough. And you can use that for any ceremony.
Well, this took a turn that we didn't know was going to happen, didn't it, eh?
I know. But I mean, I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing ceremonies. Can you imagine holding a space? The thing is, I'd get myself into a pickle. I mean, even doing these Zooms, I'm on the loo for 2 hours before anaerobes because I'm getting in the state about it. So I don't know how I'd be if I actually set myself up to hold a space. But I was imagining just a space where, you know, you just meet people in a ceremony setting and you allow them, you kind of reflect for them the light of who they are, and you allow them to be seen, fully seen, because most people don't know what that's like to be seen and to let themselves be seen. That would be such a beautiful thing to offer.
It really would.
If I could do it.
And I think it's really needed.
Yeah. What shall I book out the town hall robes? Come and be seen. What would I do? How would I say it? I don't know how it might look.
Don't know. You'd want a space though that felt conducive to what it was, wouldn't you? I bet the festival's got quite a masculine energy, hasn't it, in it?
Yeah, I suppose it has really. I'm probably looking at a yurt, aren't I?
Yeah, or somewhere that's like just a really nice room, you know, somewhere that doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't, like a lodge or something, or a cabin or
Yeah.
something like that. Because normally town halls have got.
Because of all those stories. Oh, I'm noggin.
There it is. Oh, that's nice.
A better one. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not happy with any of them. You know what the problem is? Let me tell you what the problem is. This white one, this white circle, what is a duffer, and it doesn't seem to matter what I put on it. All the other shapes I can make feel conducive, feel right, etc. But the white circle, no, it doesn't feel right.
Can you not just paint over the white circle in a colour?
I have done that on some of them, and I think it has been a bit better.
What is that white pen you're using?
It's a jelly roll.
Is it a Sakura one?
Yeah, Yeah, I love Sakura. Do you?
Me too. Yeah.
The bee's knees. The bee's knees.
Dragon
Lovely, lovely.
Dance, they are. Yeah, they're good, aren't they, at going over stuff?
Yeah. Oh, they're too wet to work into still.
What are they
Right.
going to be, Koo?
Well, just these 4x4. So these are bits of mount board. So they're kind of free. My little art shop sells them off in packs, to for you to get. So I'm gonna do a ruby and add some gold to these. If I can find my gold paint. Oh, it's on the windowsill.
Oh. Yeah, that's really, really, it blew my mind a bit last night. I was like, what the heck? So I'd seen on Chris from Twitch and the Witches page that she's, if you go on Pinterest and you write in your name and then put core after it, CORE, all the pictures that come up is linked to you. So interestingly, I put Ruby in, and a few of them were, but a lot of them was not at all. And I thought, right, I'll put my birth name in. So I put Ruth in. Oh, every single picture, I could not believe it. There was even a ginger cat from like when I was a girl. It was all.
I don't understand.
So in the search bar where you search for stuff.
Yeah, but I don't understand how this is working.
I don't know how it's working either. But if you put your name in, followed by core, like cottage core and all that stuff.
Oh, so it's kind of what people who have that name like.
Yes. I
couldn't
believe it. I couldn't. It was all gardens, flowers, cottages, books. It was just. It looked just like my ideal dream world.
Flipping heck!
But isn't that interesting? It picked it my birth name, but not for my Ruby name that I go by.
Name.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
The Ruby one had things on it like weird nails and all sorts of odd. But I thought, I wonder if you put yours in, what would Cooler come up as?
Fridge freezers, probably.
As what?
Fridge freezers. There's a company of fridge freezers in in America. It's a company that makes like curries, but they do.
No, is it?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be any good then, would it?
Maybe not.
It's a bit like, how does it know? How is it doing this? This is so.
This AI is crazy days.
Yeah, it's mad. I was watching a Gary Vee video the other day.
I haven't seen him for ages.
Oh, I haven't. I do like him, but he's too much. He talks too fast. He's too intense, and I just go, like Russell Brand. He's the same. I can't watch him because it's just too quick.
They get so excited, don't they?
Oh, take a breath a minute. Just give me a breather a minute.
Yeah.
But some guy on Gary Vee was saying that he got a phone call off what he thought was his brother asking for money. It was his brother's voice asking to send him money. And it's an AI program. Crazy.
Well, this is what we've been saying, Rubes, because we were going to do. I saw it on LinkedIn, and it was. Oh, but I couldn't do it with you, could I? Because it couldn't be over the thing. It had to be you had to sit in the same room, and you had to record. I was going to do it with my daughter, and you had to record a 15-minute conversation about certain topics, and they actually gave you a script to say. I didn't know until the minute we were going to be recording that they gave you a script, and then that's what put us off. We got a bit like, hang on, there are specific words here. It's not just talking about fashion, though what I would have said, I don't know. But then we got a bit spooked out, and it was like, oh no. So that's a bit of a worry.
It's weird, isn't it? Because there's another thing, we don't want to be talking about fear stuff, but I think some are important for people to be aware of. There's a thing where if somebody rings you up and you don't know who it is, they keep saying, "Can you hear me?" You're not meant to say yes, I can hear you, because they can take your yes bit and use it as other stuff. So you just say, I can hear you. And then apparently they get really annoyed when you won't say yes and put the phone down. So it's a scammy thing.
Yeah.
And I've had quite a few, I don't know if you have, Koo, on Etsy messages.
Oh, the Etsy messages driving me nuts.
Ridiculous.
Why aren't Etsy on top of that?
No, I really don't know. I just keep reporting them as spam.
Yeah.
That's all you can do, isn't it? And also on Facebook, on my business page, at least once or twice a day, I get some account saying your account's going to be shut down if you don't do this and that. And that's all spammy as well.
Yeah.
And it's like running a small business, you've got enough stuff to do without having then to start answer all them blooming stupid things or reporting them all and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We were saying the other week, weren't we? Oh, the days before the internet.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to be doing this, would we, Beauty?
No, we'd have had to send each other a letter, wouldn't we?
We wouldn't know each other, would we?
No, we wouldn't.
That would be sad days.
Yes, very sad days. Yeah, I'm really glad for the internet for some things, and then other things I'm just like, oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you remember in the beginning though, when it was the dial-up and you had to wait for ages and it'd do all them
yeah. Yeah.
I remember that from, was it Sega? My dad, my mum and dad split when I was 7, and my dad always had money. I don't know how, but he did. So he always had things like a computer or an Atari or a Sega or something, where we never had anything like that. So he'd bring it round when he'd visit sometimes. And you'd load it, which was the one with the cassette game? I can't remember.
That was the Sega, wasn't it?
And you'd load it and you'd be like, oh, it's loading. An hour later, it's loading.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it'd go off and you'd have to start again.
Yeah, you couldn't believe it though.
No, and now I'm on my phone on solitaire and I'm like, if it's not loaded within 10 seconds, I'm like, oh, come on.
I know. Everything's instant.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And, I spent 2 hours the other night in bed trying to look for, as you do at 2 o'clock in the morning. We brought, when the kids were little, a camcorder thing with mini DV tapes in it and recorded it. But I've never done anything with the tapes. I've got about 60 of the tapes, and you can send them away to get made digital, but I really don't want to. I'm so worried about, I just don't want to. And I know there's thousands of reviews. They all say they're great and everything, but I can't. So I'm trying to do it so that I can do it myself, buy the equipment. But would you believe, Rubes, those little old tape things that were, it would have been about 300 quid to start with, but this is 25 years ago. And now they're £80 on eBay. £80 for a 25-year-old blooming. I was like, are you having a laugh?
Isn't it?
I can't believe it.
I often think it'd be so amazing if you could have saved all your stuff. Like, now it'd be worth like loads, and they'd be fun, wouldn't they, to have? But
yeah,
so funny. Well,
right, Beauty.
With that.
What is it?
I'm quite happy with that. It's hard.
They're lovely.
I like the goldy bits in them.
It's hard. You can't see the gold on the camera.
No,
you can see the colour, but you can't see the shine. Because I was holding mine up. They look so pretty in the flesh, but you can't see it. Maybe we need to get different lights or something. Oh, and I wonder about the sound this time, because last time it was a little bit behind on yours, wasn't it? But you did it in the editing.
Yeah, I'd done it by mistake because at the beginning I cut the beginning off. So
and you'd already extracted the audio.
Yeah, and I didn't realise.
But I noticed on my one, sometimes my words dipped out, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
No, so this is something we're learning. But shall we just speak to the peeps a second?
Yeah.
And we're going to try and put pictures of these done things in, aren't we, Robes?
Yeah. That's really nice. Are you going to carry on working into that?
Yeah, that one and these ones, they're not dry enough to do it. But they look like pebbles from a beach, don't they?
Oh, they do. Look at them.
Yeah. Anyway. So, I was just saying, when you went and answered the door, I was saying thank you for the comments on the last one, and we're really pleased that people enjoyed it, and it helped people who felt like lonely or all of those things. It's just something nice to to watch when you're chilling out or when you're working away at home on your own, isn't it?
Yeah.
We hope. That's what we hope.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't talk too much about too much bonkers things.
You can never talk too much about too much bonkers things.
And so we'd be really happy if you've got any questions about anything we've talked about, or any other types of questions, any arty questions, spiritual questions, witchy questions, gay questions, any questions about anything, or autism question, or it doesn't matter. You can ask us anything because we're very open and we really want to help and support, etc. So I don't think anything will really be off limits, out of bounds. Yeah, I don't think anything will really be. So yeah, leave any comments and any questions you want to. This is strangling me, Rubes. I've got to make the next one different.
Honestly, I couldn't have it
this is after I cut it down. It's a bit annoying, ain't it?
Yeah, you could do with it in a V.
Oh, I don't like V's, but yeah.
Oh,
but look, the yoke is there, so I couldn't come much further down.
No, you couldn't.
But anyway, I'll have to adapt the next one.
Yeah, no, I do like a V-neck because this isn't, but it's quite.
Well, that's quite a boaty one, isn't it? So it's quite low. Yeah. At least your straps didn't give you any problem.
No, these ones are good.
Yeah. All right. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Have an amazing week, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye, Rubes. Love you.